iAccess Radio, the future of radio and podcast. No limit to what we do.
iAccess Radio, WIAX, the future of radio and podcast. No limit to what we do.
Jamel, celebrity vocal coach right here, and I am a part of Give It Life.
And ratchet, we
And
bringing
real, extra ratchet, raunchy.
That'll be everywhere, like. What we got coming up?
Those shops is upstairs, but we down here by also, man.
This nigga got hit to walk off the set.
We leave that up to Rito.
Phoenix, soul, clarity and connection through conversation. Phoenix, soul, clarity and connection through conversation.
Whoa, yeah. I know it's not too ghetto.
Let's get it.
I know it's not too ghetto.
Hey.
I said I know it's not
And we're not too ghetto. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to. Wow, I haven't done live in so long, right? Welcome to Phoenix Soul, clarity and connection through conversation. I am Yaz Hurston, and you're listening to us and you're watching us on iAccess Radio, the future of radio and podcast. There is no limit to what we do. Big shout out to Big Al in the back. And if you always, and I always encourage you to do so, if you want to call us, you can call us 347-708-0216. Again, I'm Yaz Hurston. I'm just so pleased to be back. I know. It's been a couple of weeks. Had some personal matters that I had to address, but I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really happy. I'm feeling really strong. And I couldn't do it without bringing one of my sister girls back to bring me back in. Yeah. So that being said, a lot of people know this young lady next to me, and they know her for a number of things. And hey Al, can we show a couple of pictures of why everybody knows this young lady based upon her products? No? Okay. We're gonna show the reason why. That's one. That's a great one. We love that one. Yes. That's another one. And I'm not gonna say whose that was, but that's another one.
We digging into your personal.
I said, look, you gotta support. This is like every milestone in my life, and I couldn't find my mom's cake, but every milestone in my life, you gotta have cake. Every milestone, you gotta have cake. And I think we have evolved with every milestone. Like your cakes are just getting fire and fire every time. I mean, they always were, but it's just like they taste really good. I mean, we would always, I would have family members who weren't supposed to be eating your food sneak, and that's younger and older, right? Sneak. But Aaliyah Baylor, everybody, from Make My Cake, and I Like It Black.
I Like It Black Coffee Shop. Thank you so much for having me. This is it. As you said, we go through personal things, take care of personal things, and when you circle back in that restart, it becomes, you start to think of who is within that space that you can share that with. So I appreciate being part of that.
Oh no, well, not for nothing. You always threaten me, saying, "I know I'm doing the cake, right?" And so, like, who else would do the cake, first of all? But it's just like it's taking you too long to call me about the cake, right? And so, and when someone's doing a cake for a reveal, or someone's doing a cake for an announcement, like she is probably the only one besides us that knew about this stuff.
Yeah,
And big shout out because you didn't tell anybody about it either.
I did
But it was
not.
just really interesting.
All the way up to wrapping the cake up, and
Right.
my staff trying to figure out what was going on.
Mm-mm.
And I was like, this is just such a special moment
Yeah.
for Harlem, for you,
Oh
for
yeah.
our community, and that reveal.
Well, let me just talk a little bit about who you are, because I know everybody thinks they know you, but I just want to give flowers if that's okay. Aaliyah Baylor, she's the third generation baker who learned by watching her mother and grandmother cook. Aaliyah was born and raised in Harlem, New York, and attended North Carolina A&T University, where she received her bachelor's in food science. Some of her hobbies include traveling as a mom, watching football with friends and family, and of course, baking. From Harlem to Hollywood, Make My Cake uh, Bakery is beloved by A-list celebrities, local tastemakers, and globetrotters in search of that certain sweet something. Serves up decadent Southern-style recipes prepared by using centuries-old secrets of heritage baking, inviting flavors, and a generous dash of love. I'm going to talk a little bit more, but I just want to acknowledge that you credit your mother, Joanne Baylor. Big shout out to Mama Joanne, and your maternal grandmother, a Southern matriarch lovingly known as Ma Smith, whose roots stretch from Alabama, Mississippi to New York, for training you in the craft, fostering your entrepreneurial spirit, and respect for community. So I think it's important that we all know, and you have people should feel free to stop by. But some of your clientele has included like Tina Fey, Whoopi Goldberg, the cast of 30 Rock and Law Order, as well as Alicia Keys and Jay Z and Beyonce, and Yasmin and Chiyuka and Ajani. So we just want to say, first of all, thank you for that. And Aaliyah, welcome to Phoenix Soul. So let's talk a little bit about furthering on like what really your family instilled in you when they talk about community, when they talk about enriching ingredients from your past, and like how did you incorporate all that? What did you watch, or what did you see in that?
I mean, when growing up, and there's just one small correction there. I'm born in the Bronx, but raised in Harlem.
I'm never saying that, so
I know.
Okay. I'm not saying that, but shout out to the Bronx.
There's always going to be one that's going to correct me. So
Okay.
I try to correct myself.
Okay, Bronx.
But being so rooted in Harlem,
Sure.
the navigation for my grandparents was from the South, Mississippi, Alabama, which is deep South, which is still to this day considered deep South. Whereas you went there in the summer to visit your family, but then there was times when with my grandmother and her sister, some of her sisters moving up here to Harlem, a lot of the family came to visit Harlem, visit her. So our extension of going down south was for family reunions and those monumentous moments. But we had, what I was able to watch growing up was Sunday dinner every Sunday at my grandmother's house. And my grandmother lived right in Harlem River Houses, one bedroom, where she raised my uncle and my mother. And so I set the space of Harlem River Houses because, in those complexes, the
low rise or the towers? Which one is she living in?
She was in low rise, one of the first occupants in there, and the ovens, the kitchens, everything was small. So, but she had these feasts for a family of, it was at least 15 of us on Sundays, and there was always dessert in my home. And I always saw dessert. It was never, and it always was something that it was made. Whether my brother wanted to make something, whether my mother made something or my mom made something, my dad's favorite dessert, whatever it was always something sweet. So that's what I endured is as a child of just being able to see the different delights that my mother would create. And when my grandmother encouraged my mother to start her own business, I became her apprentice as a teenager, and coming out of college, took on the business full time because I saw that as being an opportunity. One, because my mother had stepped out of the role of day-to-day baking and went into corporate America. And I stepped into a space where you come out of college now, and you're trying to figure out what's next. And what's next may be right in your face. It may not be that. If it's the degree, it's that experience, but it's something. It's not so much. Oh, I went for the easiest part. I continued what my mom had already set. Awesome. And that was, a definition of legacy having legs.
Was that pre-planned or was that intentional? Did you guys say, this is the family business and this is succession process?
You know what? That wasn't, because it was a home business. It wasn't a hobby for my mother. It was a business. It was a supplement income that was contributed as being a housewife, being home day to day with me and my siblings, and still studying for her degree.
Wow.
Still taking on catering jobs and building her foundation of friends who were very supportive of her being able to do that, because that's no easy feat to be able to manage wife, motherhood, children, chores, and still being community involved. My mother's a 7A of the building, which we lived, and totally involved with all of our after school and school activities. So my parents were always present. They were present in a way that supported entrepreneurship. So whether it was said, written down, I do encourage that. But anyone who is doing a home business, do not take it for granted that the child that's watching you, that's 2-3 years old and getting older, and that business continues in their teens, they're watching and they're probably saying, oh, I'm going to do that too.
That's excellent. And thank you for, giving kudos to your mom. So you've had a number of shops, and like you said, you started out in somebody's apartment, right? Going way back. But you've evolved, and you've gone to different shops. Tell us a little about your evolution from when you started from that apartment to like all the different stores that you've had.
Well, there's definitely been, we've left some cake crumbs along.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of saying it.
And coming out of the apartment, stepping out of the apartment, we opened up our first shop in 95, going into 96. And that lasted until 05. Went into another location, 6 blocks away, 110th to 116th. In between there, 139th Street open, where my mother and my brother still run that location since 1999. Never left that space. The reason why, and this is something that any entrepreneur has to understand, when you sign a lease, you can't be there for a long period of time, or you can be on borrowed time, but not borrowed time. That's a bad thing. You start building steps for the next place. Because ownership is key. If you can get into a space where you own find a condo space, retail space, see if you can purchase it. And ask that, can I lease to own? Can I rent to own? Can you just keep that in the back of the mind once things start to progress and my business is flourishing? Maybe the opportunity isn't far-fetched. So people have to see that early and plan. I don't think that I didn't plan. I don't think the movements that occurred was of anything that didn't do well because of the business. It was time.
Sure.
You know, in the moment you're feeling it. It's like, oh my God, I gotta rebuild another space, I gotta move. But if you think that that might be a possibility, then keep that part of your business plan. You know what? That's expansion. All I see that I've done in the movements that we've made and where we currently are on 125th Street, we are now 2 years bravely built out during COVID, which was, you know, when someone says that, a customer said that to me the other day, they said, wait, you've only been open 2 years. You opened during COVID?
No, life after COVID feels like a lot longer than what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
And then he's like, oh my God, you survived and I said, no, surviving.
Surviving, right?
Surviving because this is a continual of rebuilding. You know, the business, yes, has been able to stand the test of time of stopping and starting. So that regrouping plays so many different roles. Your menu is what it is. It is a foundation, but then you have to have that staff that that keeps that foundation going. And on top of that, we built out a whole new entity of I Like It Black Coffee Shop.
So before we get to that,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about staffing and how important community is to you. Because I mean, you know, with the number of clientele that you have, I'm sure you could have probably moved or expanded anywhere in the city, and you kept it local. You kept it in environments that were comfortable to you and where you grew up, and then you hired people. I'm sure that kind of that you've worked with or that you've known, or just people that look like you could give them an opportunity. So talk to me about what you think about when you expand and who your team looks like.
My team has always looked like the community.
Okay.
Now, when
Well,
I
community
say that,
changes, right?
yeah, but when I say that, I say someone who may not even live. They might live in Brooklyn. They might live somewhere else, but they have come into our business and dived into what my family's about, what the culture of the business is, and understanding that you get a quick sense of Harlem being home because the community of our customers are so focused on keeping us in business that when we've hired, we've been able to.
Dina is saying all these D.W. Williams saying touch. Okay. But also she said well, you always have a personal touch and
yes.
Bronx born Harlem heart. Thank you, DW.
But as far as the staffing, I just had a recent conversation with my dad about it, and he encouraged me to write a book about.
It's a good idea.
Staffing, and because I was talking to him about the difference that I feel is one of when there's a small business and then it's that corporation, and what attracts different candidates to be able to get your business to the next step. And another part of what we've always done is had what I like to call writer passage. Make My Cake is on a lot of people's resumes for the past 20 years, whether for a summer job, in between your holiday breaks, that we've always been an outlet to be able to encourage young people to get a job. I mean, I got a call earlier today. Hey, is there any way you can get my daughter in for a couple of weeks? Okay. And I literally had to be. I mean, I've had to be a lot more structured in it of late, because you have to be able to have those individuals get the best part of your business. So you just can't put them there and then just be a body. You want to be able to give them the fundamentals. We're in the hospitality industry,
right?
And that starts with greetings, being able to speak out, speak up for the product speak up for the business, and be able to articulate. And I find that of recent that there's a lot more effort that we're taking in preparing our staff. It has never been anything that I would say is not fallen in a way that we go, you know what, I can't do this. This is too much. We need to hire an outside individual to come in and training. Me and my mom is always really focused on.
That's a lot of work, though.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
But it's excellent that you're able to focus on customer service.
Because
so tell us about I Like It Black coffee and tea.
I Like It
Black.
Where
did this come from?
I Like It Black coffee shop. That the idea of
is
the
it coffee and
tea
or just coffee shop?
It's coffee. Well, we're adding tea because we just sourced. One of our vendors is going to be curating some flavor components for us. One of our coffee vendors just curated a blend for our second anniversary, which is called Deuces.
Okay.
And it is they're out of Virginia. Most of our, let me just go back before I get into that about the concept of I Like It Black coffee. Sure. We are a multi-retail roaster, meaning we feature Black and Latin roasters from around the country and beyond. But we like to highlight those individuals who would not have a platform or have a clientele in the New York area, not just the Harlem area, but the New York area, the tri-state area. So we've been able to source some really great people who have been roasting. There's a lot of Black companies out here who are in Atlanta, in St. Louis, as far as Oakland, but there have been some really great contributions to our bar of flavor of coffees. So right now, coming up, just getting to a second year mark, I can take a deep breath and just go, okay, what's next? Because
what kind of, I don't want to take out any other names, but can I get a comparable of my macchiato caramel? Like what type of blends or what type of coffee?
Well, when it comes down to the blends, we have coffees from Ethiopia, from Honduras, from Haiti, from Senegal. We have a young man who has been who started his own company because he wanted to celebrate coffee from Senegal. So we've been we feature his coffee.
Are we doing coffee tastings?
We are not doing so much coffee tastings, but we do something very unique that's within the area of Harlem. We do pour overs. So the concept of I Like It Black, the name itself is the appreciation of coffee and its flavor component.
Sure.
So before you grab the milk and the sugar and the caramel and the vanilla syrups, you want to taste the coffee.
Got it.
And our cafe manager, he introduced such a great menu and a good lineup of how to enjoy that. That it has been able to continue with our baristas and being I understood now what a coffee geek is. It's like, okay, you when you come in, you're being sold on the coffee. You're not going to just get a cup of coffee without an explanation about what you're drinking.
So you had to do the research, which is very important. So everybody should know that coming to make my cake and I Like It Black, you're not just getting just extra coffee. You actually did the research of the different types of coffee that you wanted, being thoughtful of the different flavors and sharing it with us in the community. So that's really great. Thank you.
Want to know something else that I did not realize until we opened? That this is only a coffee shop as a Black individual, as a woman, is not as common within the landscape of coffee shops within our community. There are definitely Black-owned coffee shops in other boroughs, but in comparison to the amount of coffee shops that occupy our city, it is not something that has been elevated. Now, that also gives us that type of notoriety
Yeah, I'm
from
sure.
our staff because it is something. It's an exciting place to work because they're seeing something that they can relate to and that they can aspire to as well.
History. So are we able to come in and just like have a quick meeting with over some
Oh
coffee and stuff?
yeah,
See, that's what we talk about.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of spaces to come in the morning and have a quick meeting,
exactly.
stuff like that. So thank you for that. So let's want to talk a little bit more like how do you handle work life, and certainly there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are watching, and all the stuff that you're doing, it seems like you're doing a lot alone. How are you able to manage work life? What's the work life balance like?
Okay, so work life, then balance, because those are three different things. Sis. Those are three different
Okay,
things.
okay.
Our work is our work.
Elaborate.
Our work is our work, our day to day. Our life is our family. And everything that surrounds that, our education, things that is the ingredients that keeps us going. And then I feel what balance is the extra things that is the downtime. That's the things that
Is there downtime?
because there has to be an extra hour in the day, and
It really
sometimes
should
if
be.
we're setting that alarm clock at 7,
Yeah.
we might need to start setting it at 5:30, and
Mhm.
start experiencing those downtimes earlier in the part of the day. I found that it was very hard for me to do that in the evening, where it's like, oh, the wind down. I have to wind up. I have to get up earlier in the morning. I'm an urban suburban mom. I've been blessed to be able to have a home outside of the city with my family, and but there's definitely me being, coming when I'm in this, when I'm able to do that, it's like, oh, I want to plant something. I want to do something. But I get there and I just want to sit down.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But in the city, I find myself connecting with a couple of community gardens people, and I was like, oh, I can get a plot of like a little planter's box. So right where I live, there's been a couple of business homeowners who have been wanting to just revitalize things. So I find that as something that adds to that balance. Like, oh, I want to do something different. I want to be able to come out of my space of my day to day, because my customers, they give me they're like my B12 shots. Like, they can give me energy, they give me praise, they critique, they criticize, they do things, but they keep me constantly thinking about the business. Anyone who is a business owner has to find a time to just do something mindless. And not that you're not doing anything, but something that you don't have to put so much thought into. That you're just sitting there being creative. I've even gotten some markers and just start, how you kind of color within. They call it
As far as your Zen trying to
yes, but they call it
coloring. That's what's called.
yeah, but it's like the meditation, the mindfulness, and I find myself wanting to rip out the pages and frame it. I feel like I didn't create it.
You didn't go out the lines. Okay.
But then
No, I
I'm sitting there
understand
going,
that.
am I decorating a cake? Like, I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about just creating outside of my work.
Sure.
And that's really important that we find that moment. Even when we're getting our nails done and our feet done, those type of things, turn the phone off. Like,
yeah. I think that's right. I mean, I think that using your downtime when it's time is critical. And is your daughter like your apprentice, like you were to your mom? How's
My
that work?
daughter Danielle she is a senior, with just a semester
Hey, Danielle,
away. Yes, but just a semester away for getting her degree in 2 majors. She's in political science and African American studies.
Okay.
So and you ask your child, what do you want to do next? Like, what do you feel? Oh, I want to get my master's. I'm like, you know what? Okay.
Why not? Go ahead.
Okay, this is the time to do it. So she's been around the business enough that I think if she chose to be in the business day to day, it would be second nature. But I've encouraged her, and I'm so excited that she's taken that encouragement to see other opportunities, because you can always be an entrepreneur. You can always come back and doing that in any shape, form, or fashion. Um, but she's experienced it enough that I know she has that entrepreneurism in her. So, but as far as being part of the day to day, with her going away to school, she hasn't been around in the last 4 years. But I bring her in there when I can.
Well, I think we all we all watched her grow up there.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Danielle and you being a mom and everything. And how has being a mom shaped you? You think from before and then like now going entrepreneur, you thinking about all those aspects in your life? Certainly when you have children, you learn how to speak to people, right?
Mhm.
Because every child or every person is different. And how do you think you've brought that into it when you deal with people
As far as staff and as
or
far as
community or
the community,
customers?
um, there's different growth moments of being a parent as being also an entrepreneur. Patience.
Hmm.
Ooh, yes.
Mm.
Thank you, God,
Hmm.
for that, because there's
Say it
times
again.
when my growth had to be defined by a moment,
Hmm.
whereas I needed to make something right and I needed to make sure something was correct. I needed to be constantly thinking about the customer
Hmm.
and thinking about the brand, and being in a position where um, executing from start to finish, that communicating anything to a customer, anything to the staff, takes part with proper instructions, proper processes to be able to make sure that what you're getting done, you see the result that you want. So I think what has helped me with being a mom is taking the time to listen. I see that a lot now with my staff. Um, Being able to constantly say, "Hey, you good?" Um, and really just stopping to say that, like,
Yeah.
not just in passing, "You good?" and waiting for the answer.
Yeah.
And then one person recently said to me, "I hear you say that often, and I've worked in other places, and I really feel like you mean that when you say it." And I was like, "Well, I'm not, I don't want you to just kind of give me an answer that says yes."
Sure.
They was like, "No, because right now I want to be able to say that there's something that I want to be able to talk to you about how I can better handle this with a colleague,
Hmm.
how I can better handle this with a customer." And I think with me just having that quick little, "Hey, you good?" in between me decorating the cake or walking by, coming in the morning, um, to start at the beginning of the shift, just being engaging with my team, it has helped me be able to make a better connection.
Yeah. So you're watching Phoenix Soul, everybody. Here with Aaliyah Baylor, who is the president CEO of Make My Cake, and I Like It Black Coffee and Tea Shop. You want to give us a call? Feel free to do so. 347-708-0216. So Aaliyah, I think it's important that many people watching understand that it wasn't just you just got up in the morning, started making cakes, and that's it. You had to go through some developmental um, exercises. You went through different programs that supported your efforts, and you want to talk a little bit about them and how they help shape you as a business person.
Yes, there's always that level of educating yourself, even at the point that you get that brick and mortar, that door open.
Hmm.
And there's been programs that are still around. SCORE, for one, retired executives. I forget what the SCO means, but the retired executives,
Hmm.
they they are very eager to assist and to be able to give you insight. Um, there was also a program that the former President Clinton had started within the community. What that did for me was give me a resource of other entrepreneurs who were going through the same, and we were able to elevate and be able to pull our data. I mean, there was just certain things that we were able to do collectively with our guards. When we were vulnerable, we were in a position where we were able to talk freely about different things and not feel like it was going to be held against us, because we were talking through issues. Columbia University also had, and I believe they
So you
still
took
have a
advantage of
program.
everything.
Oh yeah, and there's a list. I talked to, and Goldman Sachs,
Goldman Sachs, I was
10,000
gonna say,
small
yeah.
business program.
How was that?
They're the gift that keeps on giving. And why do I say that? Because the advisors who are within that space are still an email or a call away.
Great.
And that's really important, that you get that foundation of, again, people who you've met within those programs who can be B2B, their business, been doing business to business. So not just getting Goldman Sachs to give us that sense of blueprint to be able to get us to the next level, because it was rewriting our business plan in a way that we had not looked at it before. And these are businesses who were, where, their numbers were high. There were not 5 million, 10 million, $20 million businesses that stopped and was like, oh, wait, this is how I'm doing it. Now, me with my numbers,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to get there and be happy about getting there, but understanding and seeing what they've done with multiple stores and not look at that as fear. So that was good with being in the room, because not that we look at ourselves as small business owners, but until we get into a room with other businesses who are also under that same umbrella and that same definition as a small business, and you see that they have multitudes of stores, they're constantly expanding and pushing their brand, that keeps you focused. It keeps you aligned, and definitely has kept me encouraged. So as you say, oh, I've taken advantage of them. I mean, I just was talking to the business owner from Neighborhood Coffee, Dwayne, yesterday, and he was telling me about a couple of programs. And that's what's great about the community of Harlem that I know, because that's the community that I'm in, and where other business owners, we talk to each other on a regular basis, and we keep each other as much as we can in the loop of what I've learned. And there's two business owners that I speak to within Harlem on a weekly basis, that it's Motivation Monday. Hey, how'd you get through your weekend?
That's great.
And
No, that's
and
excellent.
and what's going on? So when Wayne popped up yesterday at the coffee shop, he's another coffee shop owner. So I support sweets. You'll find me in another bakery just because. Oh, I'm not. It's not seeking. It's always
No competition, is just supporting.
Yes,
Right?
it's supporting, and it's also keeping yourself, as I said, just aligned with just keeping yourself anew. There's the
So you're
blueprint
sweets.
is, yeah.
So you're sweets. Now
Well,
we
we
all
call our
have.
customers sweeties.
I'm a sweetie. So like everybody knows, like, well, I think you certainly, there's so many more now, but everybody knew they were coming there. It's the red velvet cake. It's the red velvet cake. It's the red velvet cake. Bobby Flay, right? Tell us about that.
That
that
episode.
meet.
That's
Yes.
the gift that keeps on giving
And what
too.
year was that? Like,
Danielle is 22, and she had to be 8
okay.
when that took place, and really rewarding, such a rewarding event, where the two cakes were up for competition.
So he did like a competition, like he was gonna make one, and you had.
He made one, I made one, and I remember Norma Jean from Spoon Bread was was one of the judges, and then there was another cake decorator. She teaches at ICE. She was also a judge, and it was held right there in Harlem. And it was like this big thing about it's a 2-day event where they came and they filmed, and then the next day was, oh, make this cake and you're gonna present it at a party, and then he pops out, and I'm like, okay, dude. I was like, so, but I'm watching this. I'm a part of this. I mean, my family was I mean, all a part of this moment. And what was so significant about the cake that we did, it was the German chocolate cake, and that was one of the first cakes that my mom showed me, because I would go.
So good.
We would go to the supermarket. She would be buying ingredients for the for her orders. And I would be in the aisle picking stuff, and anything that had a recipe on the back of it, I'm like, Mom, buy this, we can make this. She'd go, okay. So the German chocolate bar was one of the recipes. It was a labor of love, and we call that cake the throwdown, because that was the cake that was from the throwdown.
So you won. You beat them?
No, on record, no. But by popular demand, yes.
I feel
because
like
the
that
craziest
that Bobby
thing,
Flay.
and I'll say this, we had there's a moment where they announced it. So what I found out afterwards, one of the judges, I ain't gonna say which one, but one of the judges thought my cake was too perfect to have been my cake, which I thought was interesting. I was like, was this supposed to be lopsided?
It couldn't be yours. Like,
yeah,
who could it be? Right.
But
you didn't make
but
it.
At the point
you
of
didn't make it.
It was they watching us make it right.
Right.
So no, they're not watching it, but they know that we're there making it. What transpired at the moment that, because me and him are like, we're holding hands or something, and you're supposed to like raise the hand or whoever. And he literally asked them to do it over, and the producer was like, "We can't." He was like, "There's no way in the world." That cake. I mean, he had goat's milk or something in there. I'm like, dude,
it's insulting. Right.
And throw it away.
Goat's milk. He probably did that on purpose.
But well, his whole idea, and it's something that we all do as mixologists in the kitchen, is that we'll see something and we will try to remix it, but I feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, And there was a couple of things that we do to that German chocolate cake that makes it stand out more.
I feel like German chocolate cake right now, so I'm gonna probably go tomorrow and get it. So Bobby Flay, do you still reach out to them, or
I'm on the board for City Meals. That's one of the things that I add to my balance, things that I do outside of the shop, and it's a network of chefs. So there's times when he has participated within some of the chefs tribute events that we've hosted as a fundraiser for City Meals. Yes. Been very fortunate and very blessed to be on the board. It's something that we show a strive for, the things that we support.
City Meals, they give out food to seniors,
homebound
seniors. They delivered it to them.
They deliver it straight to the door. That's something that we've done with some of the staff and the customers in the shop, and I'm eager to get that back going and getting a route and getting the community involved, because there's a larger amount of recipients within our community of Harlem that outweighs the numbers in a lot of other communal areas, and that's key.
And they do it for free.
Yes.
So
all you have to do is sign up.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. I've signed a couple of people up. So I'm going to ask, what's your favorite dish? What's your favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert today. And the reason why I say
I
today,
understand.
because yesterday, I didn't have dessert yesterday, but I am I am a eater of sweets, and today, as we're talking about chocolate, I'm fixated on. We have a caramel cake
Mm.
that is one of my grandmother's favorite. That was something that was in the house. We saw that regularly on the table.
Mm.
So caramel cake, and then I'm introducing a blueberry cobbler this week.
Oh,
Yes. So
interesting.
my favorite traditional cake that I remember as a child is the caramel cake.
Mhm.
But the favorite dessert that my grandmother would make me is the blueberry cobbler.
So when's the? I know your dad said you should make a book, but when's the cookbook coming out?
I have to.
Is that wrong to ask for your recipes or how you make it? Or
No, I don't think. I don't think. I think my mom. I have to just get her. She's still in the
we
shop
still doing
on a
pinches
regular
here
basis.
and this?
No,
Okay.
She will.
Okay.
She will. I need my measuring spoons,
Right.
my measuring
Okay.
cups.
Okay.
And some of them is real fancy.
Okay, that's all right.
But I need to be able to make sure that I have that present. And so for me and mom, I'm gonna have to just go to the house and
Sit
we're
down
gonna
and
have
watch
to get some things down
It's
because
definitely an exercise to do.
it is. But I've given her a timeline. I said that we're gonna get it done by the end of the year. She looked at me a little. But I've already started
Every week, yeah.
But I've
every
already
week is-
started.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know
Does
she
know?
has. I know she's already started, but I always looked at it as that we would do something like my version and her version.
Okay, that's all right. And so like the German chocolate cake, Aaliyah's version and Joanne's version.
Because my mother
And then
always
pair
said,
it with
yes,
coffee. Like,
yes.
what's the best coffee?
Yes, or tea.
Yeah, tea to have with this. Like, why not? Besides, look, my I don't know if anybody's watching, tell us what you like, but like my favorite was is always it's the pineapple coconut cake. That's like my favorite cake.
Are you a warm cake person? Like
I can be, but I can rock with cold too.
Okay.
I can rock with cold too. With certain cakes, like if it's fruit in it, I need it. It can be cold or room temperature.
Room temperature.
But like my mom's favorite was the lime key lime pie.
Yes. And that is on the menu.
It is. I know it's on the
Yeah.
menu, and it was so funny. Johnny my mom was not supposed to have key lime pie because in addition to sweets, our community is very high in all the other stuff, but we still we love it. Okay, peach cobbler, mincemeat pie. Okay, but we I have dedicated folks that just love, and they really wanted you to come on. But I remember my son was saying, "Wow, Grandma used to make me go get it, and I used to sneak and get it too," and that's why I guess he was so pleased to finally have a cake for him. But your elaborate designs of your desserts, where did you get into that? Like, how did you learn how to do such elaborate designs?
I learned from my mom. I never went to school for it. Trial and error.
Mm-hmm. Show that. Hey Al, can you show that Oregon cake?
And that I had to create within. When did you let me know? The night before?
Yep, absolutely. 5 minutes. The other one, that's Iona, the green one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like this cake, you took pictures, you had symbols, you were just very 50-yard line. Like, what's the base of this cake? Like, what type of cake?
Well, he because I know he loves red velvet as well and chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
So each tier was a different flavor.
Mm.
So and the top tier was his favorite. So whatever one, I was hoping that the smaller one would be the one that y'all would be able to take home. So
boy, we did.
So that was one of his. It was a combination. I think that any flavor between the chocolate and the vanilla and the red velvet, that whatever one he got, he was going to be happy with. And he was very, very appreciative. Just the excitement of the cake in
But it
itself
looked
and what it's
beautiful.
symbolic.
I mean, the
Yeah.
designs on it. So you just,
Because you sent me a couple of photos.
I mean, besides me, but I'm just
But
saying, like,
I'm just saying there was a couple of photos of just him. I mean, of him. So
Oh.
even that's just showing the front of the cake. But I had
Right.
pictures that went all the way around and different concepts of the football.
so you can put
around the
pictures
cake.
on frosting, like what?
Yes. So there's a copier that strictly only prints with food coloring.
Oh.
And when we do that, we can pretty much start to create from the design, and then it can make it into like a topper, as I did with his cake.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things as far as the elaborations of designs, one of the things I've always encouraged my customers is to be able to be within a budget and be very practical and be able to have something that celebrates the event and doesn't get lost in what they're trying to convey. My mother's slogan when she first started her business was a taste as well as beauty. So, you wanted to have that balance because there's cakes that can take some days to do and not deliver on the taste for whatever reason. Because everyone,
It gotta taste good. It can look great, but it has to
and
taste
that's
good.
one of the things that my customers
It's true.
will walk in and they're connoisseurs of other places and they go, you know what, I want this, but I want it to taste like that because I got a cake like this before and it didn't taste good. So I don't know if it was the icing. There's different icings. You got buttercream, you got fondant,
Mhm.
you got so many different flavors. Like, what complements the red velvet, cream cheese,
Mhm.
icing. But I had a customer the other day that got
Ugh.
strawberry. I was like, okay.
Okay. Well, that's good. Customize.
Yes.
We can tell you what I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we had to take what we got, and I'm pleased with what I get,
Mhm.
but I didn't know that.
No, it's
Wow.
Make my cake.
Make
That's
my
what I want.
wow, and that's what it's about. Make my cake.
Literal.
I didn't realize that. That's really what it's about.
Well, that's how it evolved. It wasn't like that when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't
When I was
remember
in
that.
my 20s, I was like,
just make me a cake.
I'm just gonna make this cake.
Right. Make my cake. Well, that's awesome, Aaliyah. Is there anything that you could share with an entrepreneur who is? Thank you. Is there anything you could share with entrepreneurs that probably may think about giving up or may have lost their oomph or their will? It seems like you always find that second, your second win. Is there anything you could share with the entrepreneur?
and there's times when I don't even think that I'm even breathing in the moment. Like just it's like that second win is. So when you say that, I appreciate that because I know so many people are outside seeing and knowing my path and knowing what it's taken for me to go through different moments. So catching my breath is whenever there's a time when you have to just reflect on what got you to that moment of regrouping. As I mentioned before, the building out of different stores, that is literally, to me, it felt like totally starting over.
Yeah.
And I encourage anyone, and this was something that people take for granted. I know you hear it from other people that say, oh, journal.
Yeah.
Journaling doesn't mean that you're writing full pages. Journaling is just pretty much going, today was a great day. Tomorrow's going to be better. This is what I need to do. A journal is pretty much sometimes your to-do list, or what I've done list. So do you go back and look at that all the time? No, but I've put a post-it in a page that I might go, you know what? I might need to come back to this one and add more to it, or just sit there and just give myself a pat on the back because of what I was able to get done. And those, I'm my worst critic and my best cheerleader. Um, that, no one else got me beat. Like you can throw darts, you can be out there with the pom poms, but I know myself that I had to get to a point in my journey of being a mom and being an entrepreneur and saying, I am meeting you at your skill, Aaliyah. You are doing what you need to be doing. You are doing your best. And when you can meet yourself at your skill, then you're able to relate to others in the same way.
Yeah.
And challenge yourself to an extent where not it's so exhausting that you don't even want to reap in your rewards, but that you are able to be able to see it. Don't take for granted of stepping out of your business and observing your business. It is so key. There's times when, I think that anybody, I've never been, my children are athletes, but I imagine if I got seated on a bench after being in the game, like that would have been a moment of reflection, like what I do,
Right.
so, what I'm gonna do better to get back on out there and be very competitive. That's healthy. Healthy. Be competitive with yourself and challenge with yourself. That's healthy because we don't always take the time. We can be so on a routine and be so focused on getting it done that if those 50 things that was you were able to do in your 20s and your 30s, your 40s, I am happy in my 50s and saying, okay, this is what I can do and this is what I want to do. And say that with conviction and be able to then execute.
But we're gonna probably do another show. We really talk about womanhood and all of the things that go with it, our challenges that we've had to face as women. And we love to bring you part of that conversation.
I would love to be.
Oh yeah, because we know that you have a lot to share with it. You've definitely gone through a lot of challenges. We've all been with you through them, and we've all been with you through your successes. And I just want to say, I'm just so proud of you. I'm just so proud of all of the obstacles that you have faced and how you've overcome them. And when you come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that, along with other women who have dealt with some too. But we're really excited. I can't wait. You want to tell us where your location is, and where to reach out to you?
So our locations are 2380 Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard, which is also at 7th Avenue on the corner of 139th Street. We renamed that location after my grandmother. It's called Ma Smith's Dessert Cafe.
Okay.
And that location is where my mother and my brothers run that location.
Okay.
And the newest location is at 409 West 125th Street, right off of Morningside Avenue, and across from Grand Projects, a few more landmarks. And it's right on, the main street.
That's huge to have
the main
that's huge
street,
to have
so
something on 125.
full circle.
People need to know that
Full
you are
circle.
on 125, right? And people should come, and your hours are whatever.
Okay, so yes, our coffee shop is open from 8 to 4.
Okay.
And the bakery is open from 11 to 7. My mother's location is 10 to 6, though.
Okay. So, and if we want to reach you, we can always go to Instagram, right?
My Instagram is Make My Cake NYC.
Okay.
I Like It Black Coffee Shop, and as well on Facebook. And our telephone number is 212-932-0833. And of course, our website is makemycake.com.
Yeah, so we'll just do the website, makemycake.com, and you can go check it out. But I'm sure whoever's watching, so many people love you, love your place. And you do have a personal touch. You make people feel like you know them forever, and they just want to come in and help. And if you all have any kids that need a job, go see her. She's going to kill me. But thank you again, Aaliyah, for coming on Phoenix Soul. I am Yaz Hurston, and it's been a pleasure. I'm glad to talk to you, and thank you all. If you are listening to us on YouTube, please remember to hit subscribe. We really need your support, and we need you to follow us. And that's it. I will see you next week. Remember, clarity and connection through conversation is important. Have a good day. Good night.